party people. So, we are back. We have decided to go rout out some dragons. However, before we do that, people did tell me that there's apparently quite a bit you can do in the library, although I don't know that I agree with them. So apparently you can, like, read books. But it doesn't seem like you can. Do you have to be behind it? I read, like, from this side. Oh. Traveler's Guide to Greeton's Culture. It's been 300 years since the Sacred Kingdom of Aquaria was founded, but diplomatic relations with the Kingdom of Greeton have never been officially established. Travel within our kingdom by adventurers, merchants, and other individuals is still possible. One must always keep in mind that one history is historically rooted in enmities between our peoples. The Kingdom of Greeton is an immense land located on the continent of Greeton to the east of the continent of Gaiet. The majority of its inhabitants are mineral-based creatures, comprised primarily of barge and inhabitants are mineral-based creatures. Interesting. So, one wonders why no one's called us out on being engineers from Greeton when that definitely does not describe us. As rockfolk, they develop high intelligence via the absorption. For many centuries, trace amounts of runiological force exist in the environment. Among rockfolks, there are very few special individuals born with the ability that allows them to learn the art of controlling mechamen, men made of metal. Known as Mechaneers, these special rockfolk are highly regarded in their society. In the hilly terrain of western Gaiet lies the Republic of Sandmite, the federation of numerous small states. Each state is comprised of a different race, and the Republic's politics are decided by councils held by representatives from each of them. The races of Sandmite include... I misread that as merfolk for a second. Menodits, in its wildlands, Flow in its forest, Bream in its shorelines, and Molemen in the desert regions. There are also other races, such as the Retail Rabbits, Beagle, Drowglin, Bubblehearts, Houndfolk, and Feline Folk. One must remember that each of the various races comprised of the Republic of Sandmite have their own unique culture and customs. Interesting. The Republic of Sandmite is characterized by its worship of different gods depending on their religion. This is due to the fact that there are so many different races living within its borders. Unlike our Church of Apris, where there's an all-powerful main god worshipped by all our people, the race of Sandmite each worship a completely different set of gods. The total number of gods worshipped is said to be anywhere from 1,023 to 65,535. Those seem very specific numbers for estimates. It seems even the inhabitants of the Republic of Sandmite don't know for sure. But yeah, why would they? The Kingdom of Eriglyph and our kingdom share common roots in the ancient Kingdom of Aquar. As a result, there are similarities between our cultures. However, the Glyphians are known as a warlike people who care little about the world outside their lands. This is thought to be a product of different ways the two kingdoms were founded. Go on. The Kingdom of Eriglyph is located in the mountainous region of southern Gaiet. It was created by the scions of the ancient Kingdom of Aqua, who fled there during the war with Greeton. So apparently the Greetonites at one point went to war, and... interesting. In one respect, it is thought to be our sister kingdom based on our common roots. It's not commonly known that the founder, Eriglyph I, was the son of Ediglyph, the last queen of the ancient kingdom of Quar. Let me read that again, because that seems important. So at one point, Greeton... does that mean that Greeton took Aquar out? A large number of problems exist between our kingdoms, including Eriglyph's distortions of history, due to border lines and the refugees that enter our lands illegally. Beyond such problems lie the economic disparity between our kingdoms. The majority of Glyphian territory is barren. Sorry, I don't know why I'm yawning. It's like 3 in the afternoon. Their economy is almost entirely dependent on the mineral deposits mined in Kursla. However, due to the overmining in recent years, the mineral resources are beginning to run out, making it difficult for them to survive. Okay, interesting. So I didn't realize that... for some reason, the ones with the ladders didn't have anything. But they do. Currently, the biggest problem we have with the Republic of Sandmite centers in the sacred site of Surferio. Aquaria was the capital of the ancient kingdom of Aquar, and the land that was later given rise to the sacred kingdom of Aquaria. History clearly shows as part of our sovereign territory. Aquaria is now home to a number of humanoid races, such as Greem and Menedix. Serious issues should not be left unsettled. Our kingdom should immediately demand that Holy Sandmite returns to Ferio. What's so great about getting that place back? Utter nonsense. Of course, it'd be a different story if we had gills. But you can't read anything here. Weird. I wonder about our relations with Greeton, but apparently I don't get to. So is there stuff along the back? Yep. The Holy Mother is the prophet of the gods, sent by a priest, the sun god, whenever the kingdom faces a crisis. From birth, the Holy Mother has strong powers of divination, and the flow of runological forces induced by the runes can be seen directly by her eyes. Only one possessing such sacred power in her eyes can gain mastery of the many sacred treasures bestowed by the gods. Some say that perhaps the very power of divination possessed by the Holy Mother should be counted among the sacred treasures bestowed by the emissary of Apri. The sacred tablet of 10 precepts is the sacred treasure bestowed upon Saint Ronaldo Dine by Elena, goddess of light. On its surface are carved 10 precepts that all followers of Apri must obey. 1. Thou shalt walk thine own road, provided by thou shalt not violate the following precepts. So, yeah. Live your own life. Awesome, I like this religion already. Thou shalt not steal, maim, nor kill. This religion is way better than ours. We wasted 2 commandments on that. And apparently, in Christianity, you're still allowed to maim. Thou shalt practice moderation, not indulgence. Thou shalt cherish thy fellow men, and value the spirit souls of all living creatures, for they are equal. Thou shalt work hard and fulfill thy duties, for indolence is the death of the soul. Fun fact, because I did not know this, indolence basically means laziness. So if you're at work and your boss tells you to do something and you don't do it, you're being both insolent and indolent. Thou shalt not cause needless strife, for pain begets anger, and anger begets suffering, and suffering leads to the dark side. Thou shalt abandon desire and broaden thy knowledge, act upon truth, not illusions. Hey, Persona 4. Thou shalt judge fairly. It is a sin to do otherwise. Well, the exact act of judgment implies fairness. Otherwise, it's retribution. Thou shalt punish criminals according to their crimes. For those who go unpunished will commit them again. Thou shalt never punish the innocent. The sword of the Crimson Scourge is a sacred treasure bestowed upon Aquaria I by the emissary of a priest. This sentient sword chooses who may possess it. I bet we're going to get it at some point. And it is said that when wielded by one who is under his master, it can even cleave the sky in 2. The sword is currently in the hands of the kingdom of Eriglyph, where it was taken by our Landfar Eriglyph trader. Isn't that also the, queen of Aquai? I swear that's the same name. It was named after the queen. The sacred orb is a sacred treasure bestowed upon by Servia, the liberator, by the emissary of Apis, the word of our Father God. It has the power to produce an endless amount of water. And legends say it once submerged an entire city in a single night. Apparently we still have that one. Sacred treasures of great power that have been found are evidence of the existence of gods. They include the sacred orb, a crystal sphere of pure runological force. The sword of the Crimson Scourge, which assimilates this. Holy crap! I bet that's where the Mega Men come from if their souls are assimilated. Sacred tablet of the 10 precepts, which records the law and is handed down by the gods. The living eyes of the Holy Mother. For all mysterious treasure, powers beyond the mortal ken. It can be said the very existence of these treasures proves that there truly are gods. This is interesting, although I have a bad feeling it's going to be like the entire episode of me reading this stuff. Eclipse's Book of Prophecy. Written by Aquaria I, there are a total of 777 chapters spanning 13 volumes, said to record all the divine plagues that will ravage our world. However, the prophecies are shrouded by... Of course they are, they're prophecies. Every prophecy is shrouded in cryptic language. Accurately deciphering them is extremely difficult, even for scholars specializing in such matters. Some scholars even claim that Eclipse's Book of Prophecies is a forgery written by more than 300 years. Wow, interesting. However, the prophecies have been deciphered thus far describe actual events that have occurred. And based on this nearly flawless godlike accuracy, the book may indeed be the word of the gods. But that's the other problem. If you write things vague enough, they will always match up to things that actually happen. I know at some point there was this group that was going through the Bible with computers and like picking out, every X words, just to determine whether or not there could be any prophecies hidden in the Bible. And they found stuff with a remarkable degree of accuracy. And then someone else was like, anything sufficiently long will end up linking stuff up if you take, letters at random, words at random. Eventually you'll find something that seems to match. And they used A Tale of Two Cities in order to make predictions. Over a period of 1,024 years, the Father God Apis, together with the three moon goddesses, created a new land of hope and the many living things there. Once they finished creating all life, Apis threw his own body into a blazing fire, transforming his very soul to waste massive flames and rose to the heavens. He became the embodiment of the sun, so he could watch over the world for all eternity. The triplet goddesses, Arisa, Arenia, and Palmyra, also sought to protect the world together with their husband Apis. As they rose in the heavens, the ever-cautious Arisa kept looking back to the world they created. And so it was that she ended up being separated from the other two, moving goddesses circling our world. Stop being so cautious. Be full of self-confidence. The world became a void where there was no light, no wind, or even sound. And yet, wait, this is number 4. I bet this is number 1? Yes, okay. In the distant past, when even the sands of time did not flow, it is said the world was divided into the promised land of Aden, the land of Eldea, and where those unfledgling souls flock. Aden was protected by divine powers of the 10 deities. 10 deities? Interesting. I only know about 4 of them. And the people there lived in peace and happiness. But in Eldea, where the powers of the 10 deities could not reach, the negative emotions of anger, hate, suffering, and envy, jealousy, scorn, and lust filled the land. This would become known as the 7 deadly sins. One day, out of our curiosity, Sarah Feria, who was born in Eldea but raised in Aden, sowed the seeds of strife between the demon Lucifer. Really? Lucifer? Come on, game. Either go all the way and make it Lucifer, or pick a different name. And the diva Lance. Diva! Seeds soaked the red water the fairy gave them. In the blink of an eye, they sprouted and grew so big they covered all of Eldea. In time, the small strife turned into a fierce hatred, perpetuating a massive war that ultimately invoked the people of Aden, too. Well, kind of one day, out of curiosity, Feria destroyed the world. Freaking Feria. At the end of the fierce war between the gods, the two lands of Aden and Eldea had been ravaged by searing white flames that stretched all the way to the heavens. Countless gods and people lost their lives, and those who survived had nowhere to which they could return. Frightened by the result of their actions, the gods gave rise to a new promised land known as Enalmid. Added the survivors there and then vanished from the world. So it is said the age of the ancients ended. The world became a void where there was no light, no wind, nor even any sound. And yet, after a time immeasurable to man, new life spouted. The blazing land of Aden rose the Father God, Apis, clothed in the crimson robe. From those lands of Eldea rose the beautiful triplet goddesses, Eurycia, Armenia, and Palmyra. Okay. So yes, someone had mentioned that there was a specific order you had to read them in, and I couldn't remember if it was front to back or back to front. It definitely seems to be back to front, because that's where the Church of Apis worships many gods in addition to Apis, the sun god. They're the sun god's wives, the triplet moon goddesses, along with their offspring, the 8 gods and goddesses of land, water, fire, clouds, light, darkness, time, and the underworld. Is there the underworld and darkness are 2 different things? There's the emissary of Apis, who is charged with conveying the word of Apis. These gods and goddesses are enshrined in temples across our land, and are worshipped by countless believers. Apis, the sun god, rules over the other gods and presides over the raging flames of rebirth. He is also embodied in Elikor, our sun that blazes in the heavens. The words of Apis become the emissary of Apis as they descend to our world. And the heart of Apis, whoever grieves for our world, takes the form of the Holy Mother and descends from the heavens. So the High Priestess is actually a dude's heart. 3 moons that circle our world, along with Apis, are the embodiments of his 3 wives. The largest moon is the embodiment of Arisa, goddess of moon and the storms. She is a wild deity that presides over the vast sky and dance. Second largest is Erenia, goddess of the moon and thunder. She's a fierce goddess who presides over storms and war. The smallest of the body of Palmyra, goddess of the moon and rain. And the shy one that stayed behind, tranquil goddess who presides over water and dew. She's the youngest of the 3 sisters. 3 beautiful wives of Apis, the sun god, are also the mothers of the 8 deities who preside over the natural world. So which one only had to have 2 kids? Because I noticed that 3 and 8 do not evenly divide. That means one of the goddesses is not as favored. Goddess of light, Elena, born with wings of pure white on her back, is the offspring of Apis and Armenia. It actually could be kind of odd to see if Apis had like 2 sub-gods by each of the 3 goddesses, and then like the other 2 were just, you know, 2 of the like wife goddesses getting together. These are gods, I mean they could do that. Still wouldn't quite work out, so that even distribution may be closer. Born with wings of pure white. She's a valiant deity who presides over courage and authority. She's also the keeper of all who sing songs and inspire heroes and creatures. So I am not going to remember this guy. Fair warning, I'm not going to remember this. Oh wow, there's a book for every single one of them. The god of darkness. Orlais, born with eyes that pierce the night, is the offspring of Apis and Palmyra. He's a hideous deity who presides over night and sleep. So we've had Irenia and Palmyra so far, this guardian of all that lurk in the shadows and fills the world with distress with just a few words. That's the second Iris, I believe. I'll check. God of clouds, Solon, fastest of all the deities, the offspring of Apis and Irisa. He's an open-hearted deity who presides over freedom and peace. His guardian of spirits changes form to journey throughout the land. Okay, yep, 2 Irisas and 1 Palmyra. Cat! What is the god of cats that don't know when to stop meowing? God of the land. The god of the land, air. These guys are bad at naming gods. Largest of all the deities, the offspring of Apis and Palmyra. Okay, so the third one hasn't had any kids yet. He's a fearsome-looking yet gentle deity who resides over mountains and valor, guarding all who roam the land. I think this voice is just making me tired. I think that's what it is. So I've had to use it for like 20 minutes so far. Guardian of all who roam the land, quietly takes care of matters with mighty outlaws. The god of fire, Dima, armed with a blazing bow, is the offspring of Apis and Armenia. She's a selfish deity who guides over knowledge and the hunt. This guardian of dragons protects the world along with Solon. Apparently not all that well if she's selfish. Selfish like a shellfish. Goddess of water, Shar. Isn't Shar the goddess of darkness? It's one of the beautiful twins born from the sleeves of Irenia and Palmyra. That's okay, I was actually right. That's cool. She's a serene deity who presides over springs and tears. It's guardian of all that live in water and interrupts winter with her sword. So I can't read this one. Nope, you can't read behind the ladders. How maybe I'd like reach through the ladder and grab a book? As of time, Laera is the other twin born from the sleeves of Irenia and Palmyra. She's a quiet deity who presides over sorrow and growth, guardians of fairy and twines time with her wand. And god of the underworld, Volstar, is the unwanted offspring of Apis and burn! He's a cruel deity who presides over winter and fear, guardian of the dead leaf souls with his long sword. Man, this entire episode is just going to be rereading books. 700 years ago, Aquaria the first Holy Mother, established a small, nameless kingdom that no one reaches a central diet. It's said that while she and her people worshipped the primeval gods, fled to this land to escape the divine plagues that were protected by the wing of time. And one of the wings left behind, Serapharia. So okay, so Faria is also still kind of acting. One day, a small dispute arose between the fledgling kingdom and its neighbor. Feud spread rapidly to nearby lands that were vying for control of the central part of the continent. Within a generation, it had grown into the Taurastic Religious War, a great war involving 7 neighboring lands. Led by the divine guidance of a priest, the sun god, the small nameless kingdom won the war. Made peace with 4 of the neighboring lands and merged them into a single kingdom. That's said to be the origin of the ancient kingdom of Aqua, which would later give rise to the sacred kingdom of Aquaria. During the Taurastic Religious War, Apries, the sun god, answered Aquaria the First's sincere prayers for peace by sending the emissary of a priest. The emissary who presided the queen with a mystic sword and knowledge of the runes. Aquaria the First was thus chosen by Apries to be the Holy Mother, and she used the 2 newly granted powers to fight towards ending the war. This enabled the Nameless Kingdom to win the war and re-establish peace throughout the land. Aquaria the First became the first ruler of the ancient kingdom of Aquar. She expressed her gratitude to Apries by establishing the Church of Apries as their official religion. Found to worship Apries as the Father God for all eternity. Well, yeah, I figure if a god comes to your aid, you do kind of worship him. 320 years ago, the emerging kingdom of Greeton of the Eastern Guide invaded Aquar with 600 mecha men under control of the Snake of Valeria, the 3rd generation Mecha Master, and the kingdom's iron, steel, copper, and silver combat battalions. Even back then, Greeton was known as technological superpower, and their steel mecha men were extremely powerful. The kingdom of Aquar lost most of its territory in half a year. Being overwhelmed by Greeton's power, Ring Queen Eddie took legendary sword Crimson Scourge, her infant son, and a few of her followers, and fled into the night, abandoning her kingdom, her people, and her gods. Now as queen, Aquar soon fell to the invading hordes of Greeton. So it was one woman's betrayal that caused the utter destruction of the once flourishing kingdom of Aquar within a mere year of Greeton's betrayal. That son is going to become important. They specifically mention him. When Surferia, the capital of the ancient kingdom of Aquar, fell to the kingdom of Greeton, Ediglyph, the traitor, and their closest followers, fled towards... So that's why it's called Ediglyph the traitor. Okay, that's why the name is the same then. Fled toward the Ediglyph region. Most, however, were caught by Greeton's forces, and only very few made it to the lands of Ediglyph. Why is Greeton invading, though? Did they ever explain? Perhaps it was divine retribution against the traitors who betrayed their god, their kingdom, and their people. So can I like push this ladder? Cause it almost feels like there should be... Nope. Years into Greeton's domination of the Aquos region, one young lady rode up against the tyranny of a Snake of Valeria, the Mecha Master who ruled and conquered land for his kingdom. For some reason, I always thought the Snake would be a woman. Maybe that's me being sexist. Her name was Crustadine. She would later be crowned Servia the First and become known to future generations as Servia the Liberator. Crestia, aided by her brothers, Rolando, emerged in a protracted war with the far more powerful force of the kingdom of Greeton until one fateful day. The bitter struggle against the mechanized corps controlled by the Snake of Valeria continued beyond all hope. One day, Cresta single-handedly slipped through the enemy's defenses into the land of Surferio. She stood defiantly before the accursed Mecha Master and raised the heavens to the sacred orb she had received from an emissary of Apris upon visiting the shrine of Kadan. Thereupon, the very earth fractured out and rushed a massive torrent of water, inundating the surrounding land and sweeping away the mechanized corps. And so it was that the corrupted city of Surferia was submerged in a single night by God's wrath. And that's why we want it, because it's a holy site to us, even though we can't actually use it for anything. After losing their mechanized corps, the backbone of their military might, and the remaining enemy forces were driven all the way back to the continent of Greeton by the Runological unit led by Chris's brother, Ronaldo. I'm sorry, Ronaldo's such a funny and out-of-place name in this. After Cresta, the Holy Mother was crowned Servia the First. Sacred orb was returned to Kadan by her brother Ronaldo. It said that Ronaldo was thereupon blessed by the goddess Elena, and received a stone tablet engraved with 10 divine precepts that all worshippers of Apris must obey. Cresta, the savior of our kingdom, learned throughout the divine revelation from Elena, goddess of light. She was a scion of the royal family of Aquar, the kingdom that had been annihilated by Greeton. Backed by the strong popular support from people, Cresta formed the sacred kingdom of Aquaria. Thereupon, she was crowned Servia the First, and her brother Ronaldo was appointed a royal minister. Two siblings ruled the kingdom for many long years. Okay. That is super interesting. I'm really glad they actually give, like, a backstory to the world in this much degree. Unfortunately, it's been 25 minutes and there's still a whole nother place to go through. Dazed and confused. Is that her looking back at the world? There's a whole nother library to get through, and I'm going to get through both libraries. We're not going to spend 2 episodes just, like, reading books. Hurts to that. Library of Runology. We'll start on the back again. The light rune is a pattern that acts as a matter of converting into runological force. As a torrent of runological force is released in the surrounding environment, the only trace amount of matter is lost. The light rune is the power of Avarice, the sun god himself, and takes considerable skill to master. Light rune is a pattern of that acts like the darkness rune is a pattern that collects the runological force existing in the surrounding environment and converts it to matter. Like it is the matter it produces, its power restores space, opening a portal to another world. That was a very short explanation. Interesting, this thing seems to have nothing. The fire rune is a pattern with the power to increase the runological force possessed by the target matter. To prevent its own breakdown, the matter with excess runological force absorbs oxygen from the environment, by stabilizing itself by reducing its excess energy. The acquisition of such energy causes matter to burn, and the resulting flames are nothing but the byproduct of runological force released into the environment. The water rune is a pattern which... this one is less interesting, I've got to say. Power to decrease the runological force possessed by the target matter. By its own breakdown, matter with insufficient runological force absorbs environmental runological force, thereby attempting to stabilize itself. Fluctuation of runological force chills the surrounding air. The ice produced by invoking water runology is a great... Okay. So we're not creating ice, we're doing a scientific thing that causes ice to form as a byproduct. Okay, it's just a way to escape. I'm not reading. I mean, because basically every single one is the same. Earth rune. Each runologist has a certain affinity for the light, wind, fire, darkness, earth, and water attributes in runology. Why is there not an underworld one, huh? Underworld is missing what because there are 8. Light and darkness are both there. Fire, water, wind, and earth. I don't remember who the other one was, because there are 8 of the sub-gods. Thus, when a runologist learns 2 vastly different skills, the effects they produce will be distinctly different. This applies even when the 2 skills are practiced exactly the same way and they both the exact time spent learning both. Ability per attribute is intimately related to the character of the runologist, and is thought to be a general attribute affinity can be determined based on character. However, it's not clear whether a runologist's character is shaped later by inanimate attribute affinity, or attribute affinity is acquired later by an inborn character. Yeah, the whole nature versus nurture thing. In runology, there are actually a variety of properties defined by rune attributions. Runology that invokes the power of light has a very strong effect, but requires considerable power to invoke. Runology that affects the power of darkness has an excellent applicability, but results in loss of stability. Fire is easy to learn, but there are many beings resistant to it. Water is wildly effective, but difficult to control. Wind has a variety of effects, but is less powerful. Earth does not have any particular drawbacks, but it's just not used as much. The skills of a runologist should learn to depend on his or her ability. But there is one thing we must mention: Earth runology should be avoided. You just told me it wasn't used much. Why should Earth runology be avoided? Runological force is pure energy. It is the source of all actions in the world. The power of runological forces can be artificially manipulated by carving patterns called runes when needed. By combining different runes, it's possible to control the flow of the runological forces, so it can be converted into forms engineers desire in order to produce particular results. The phenomenon that is produced in these matters is known as runology. During the Thoracic religious war 700 years ago, the emissary of a priest bestowed upon Aquaria the first 6 runes, said to have been the origin of runology. Since then, countless runologists have studied and researched the subject, leading to the development of a number of new runes. However, runes produced in this manner were simply combinations of the original 6 that were bestowed. It's not yet known why runes, which are just a simple combination of patterns, affect our world. So it sounds as though this emissary of a prince that showed up 600 years ago is actually a off-worlder, and these 6 runes were actually essential pieces of symbology that they gave to the world, but they didn't really explain how to use them. And they founded an entire religion, more or less based on their own myths and symbology, although they obviously didn't call it symbology, and so they made up their own term for it. The power of the light rune dominates wind and fire, but yields to water and earth. Results in sonic waves when combined with wind, or combined with water, is the flow that invokes life. Light and darkness cancel each other out. Okay. And I'm sure... Our darkness rune dominates water and earth, but yields to fire and wind. Yeah. So it results in stars when combined with earth. It results in stars when combined with earth, and when combined with fire, it is a flow that invokes death. The power of the fire rune dominates earth and darkness, but yields to wind and light. The results of death when combined with darkness, when combined with wind, is a flow that invokes explosions. The power of water dominates wind and light, but yields to earth and darkness. It results in life when combined with light, and when combined with earth, is a flow that invokes lightning. Okay. Because, like, these last two are going to be ones they've already talked about in both of the other ones. I love how it's a flow that invokes stars, versus the other one is creates. That may mean, you know, which one's more important. The runes is thought as a hexagon with the most ancient runes. Light, darkness, fire, water, wind, and earth at its vertices. Developing this hexagon is another one. Sonic waves, explosion, death, and stars, lightning. Okay. That makes sense. In addition to the runology skills that are already known, there are a number of other powerful skills that have been used by legendary figures. Many scholars have attempted to ascertain such runes, but not one has succeeded yet. And I bet the legendary figures are also off-worlders. You can produce a valley of phenomenon by carving runes and using runology. However, using traditional method of carving runes to derive runological clues is not able to produce the exact same result twice. In short, whenever we have attempted to produce a phenomenon slightly different than one produced by a certain combination of runes, we have come up with a completely new combination with years of research. It's not very efficient. Consequently, research began on whether it would be possible to transform and store the energy derived from runology to release it for use when necessary. This resource results in the discovery of channeled force, which is probably electricity. Channeled force is a form of energy which tidal particles called light ions flow between matter. Its advantages of channeled force are easily portability and good convertibility to other forms of energy. Especially in terms of portability, it exceeds all other forms of energy. Number of How to make a delicious curry. Use the wind acids on the kettle to isolate runological force from the surrounding environment. Then apply 5 earth runes, Gar, inside the kettle. Applying pressure inside the kettle is higher than the pressure outside, enables you to create hot and delicious curry without using the fire ring frog. But be careful not to overapply Gar, or else your potatoes will be overcooked and fall apart. Alright, use 2, how to make beef stew. I went to school for a long time to learn to make curry. The definition of life is a state of being where the soul and the body are in perfect harmony. Death refers to the instant the thread of runological force binding the soul to the body is severed, causing it to fully separate. Restoration stops the soul from separating from the body and supplies a new runological force. However, this skill does not work in all cases. The act of supplying runological force is the same as incorporating foreign force to the body. So there's a fine line between the act of producing new life and another being. Why do our skills heal bodily wounds? Because they use runology. Why do our skills simulate the body, enabling us to invoke abilities far more powerful than normal? Because they use runology. Why are these skills handed down only to the same people of Aquaria? Because they use runology. Why can only the descendants of Aquaria the first counter? Wow, that's a cult. Because Jesus. Among the purebred fairies in the fairyland, there are several types that lay eggs on living creatures, including humans. Fairy larvae that hatch from the eggs immediately burrow into the body and start a parasitic relationship with their. Oh my god! Whenever the host body's damaged, the larvae protect themselves by releasing fluid to regenerate it. It said that fairy light emits a specific color of light, thereby summoning fairies. That's of course an outright fabrication. After all, it would be far too revolting if it were true. Something being revolting is a really bad reason not to believe it. Reflection protects the invoker from the effects of runology unleashed by an enemy by deploying a barrier of channeled force that blocks the transmission of runological force. If you seek to learn the skill, for it only can be used in battles against other runologists and monsters that need runology. However, the skill must not be forgotten, for it's extremely effective against the aforementioned foes. And so it goes without saying that you too can be considered just as a foe to someone else. Silence blocks the flow of runological force around the target, thereby preventing the invocation of runology. When using the skill, you must not forget the blocking flow of runological force to runes cardinal neutral places. The lack of their own runological force is very easy, but doing the same for runes, cardinal special locations, items, or bodies produces a strong runological force required to show experience, ability, and luck. So now they're displaying all the static elements. Gravitation restricts the target's movements and greatly reduces the speed by tightly grasping the flow of runological force generated by the motion and then producing a flow in the opposite direction. Theoretically, producing the exact same flow as the target, but in the opposite direction, should be able to fully halt it. But in reality, restricting movement by a flow that's about 20% of the strength of the target will flow is the limit. Well, let's take it to the limit. Acid rain raises the temperature of the layer of air high up in the sky, while applying massive amounts of moisture. The next instant, it lowers the temperatures, thereby creating many clouds. Finally, it produces a violent surge of channeled force that induces searing raindrops. For it must be raindrops. They pelt the enemy. This fearsome skill produced by dissolves metal, turns stone to foam, and burns people to death. Almost done. The connection between runes and runology is not a simple correlation. The darkness rune can provide flames, but there is even a skill that blocks light using the water rune. Abandon preconceptions and cultivate knowledge to make all things possible. You must not forget that all knowledge is based on the creative effort of those who came before you. Kitty! Efreet, hey! Efreet concentrates the runological force around the invoker to produce mana. A side effect of the tears a hole in space. The result summons from the spirit world an Efreet that possesses the tiny creatures living in the air and attacks the target. Are these summons now? The source of all action in our world is the motion of runological force, and the act of these souls bonding to the body is no exception. Blood Siler is invoked using the fire and water runes. First, the fire rune breaks down the power of the target's soul, and then the water rune reassembles it as its own power. Crush is invoked when using a rune with a pattern unlike any other. It summons a huge mass out of nowhere, crushing the target. So Crush crushes the target. Thank you, I would have never known that. Lightning Blast is invoked using the earth and water runes. First, the earth rune produces an eddy out of magnetic forces around the invoker, causing the lightons to build up within his upper body. Then the water rune produces a low temperature path between the invoker and the target, and then launches the lightons along the path. Tome of Laser Beams. Laser Beams! Is invoked using a rune. It converts an extremely small quantity of matter in the atmosphere into a torrent of pure runological force. The resulting energy directly strikes the target. It's interesting that this entire section is over battle runes, even though they said that people don't usually like to concentrate on things that only focus on battle. Yet they devoted an entire wing of the library to it. Earth Glaive is invoked using the Earth rune. It starts by producing a flow of runological force at the base of the target, and then channels that flow to a spiraling force that sucks up the air and stone in the area, forming a large mass of material. Firebolt is invoked using the Fire rune. It starts by producing a fireball by temporarily increasing the runiological force around the invoker. It creates a path between the invoker and the target where the runiological force is lower than the surrounding environment, and launches the fireball along that path. Ace Needles is evoked using the water rune. Starts by reducing icicles, temporarily decreasing the runiological force around the invoker. It creates a path between the invoker and the target where the runiological force is higher than the surrounding environment, and launches the icicles along that path. So these are the exact same. Okay, well, we have been doing this for 40 minutes, so unfortunately, yes, I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here. This has been learning about stuff with Dameol. Holy crap. I'm glad that the people pointed out that it was there, but I was not expecting that. I was not expecting those books to take that long. But you know what? They did. So, and if I had it to do again, I may have skipped the Runological Library, because that was just fluff. But I am really glad that I found and read the History of the World Library, because that really puts things into context and helps out quite a bit. So, I'll go ahead and save here, and I will see you guys in the next one.